Hello and welcome to Conversations with the Voice of Reason. I'm your host, Benjamin Boyce, and today's conversant is Artie, otherwise known as Rhetorically Defective. He runs a YouTube channel that I find spicy and enlightening, especially with regard to his analysis of current discourse from a rhetorical perspective. He always has a lot of insights and a lot of very edgy humor as well. In this conversation, we talk about identity, how he doesn't like it, but how we can't escape it in some way, shape, or form. You can find links to his work down there in the description, as well as links to support this channel. Thank you all very much for 100,000 subs. I'm still riding high on that 7-year long in the making milestone. Without further ado, here is Artie, otherwise known as Rhetorically Defective. Well, okay, so let's reset and start the interview here, because I like the banter, but you seem kind of offended that I would want to see you.
Well, I would assume that before.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay, see, there's a lot of information I'm giving you.
Yeah.
With my face.
This is political warfare, Ben. Yes.
Is it?
Okay.
Okay.
I don't really have a whole thing behind me, so I gotta, I was dealing with Antifa hiding their faces for 7 or 8 years, where I'm like, why am I even showing my face anymore? I have a whole internet history that you people don't know about, where I showed my face and released my name.
You people?
Yeah, the Jews, the blacks, podcasters.
Okay, well, what part of the country did you grow up in?
Massachusetts.
Okay. Is that a rough and tumble SJW stronghold, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Working
where
class?
Harvard released in 2002, where, abolished the white race. Come to find out, so there's been a lot of anti-white sentiment here, even when I didn't realize it.
Yeah.
But yeah, very more shit lib.
Yeah.
And then evolved into commie post 2020.
And where was your shitlib moment? Did you have a peak shitlib moment?
Not really. I've always said the N-word.
Well,
no matter how left I've been.
You're
just
from
to give you a frame.
Massachusetts. Okay. The N-word's like the C word for Australians in certain parts of the country. It doesn't mean the same thing, right? Or am I wrong on that?
I have a history of being very free speech absolutist, which I assumed was a liberal value.
Yeah.
So no matter how socially liberal I was never curtailing speech, which was fine with my social circle until around 2014, 2015. Things were getting a little hairy.
Was this? I don't know how old you are. I'm assuming you were in high school when this happened.
I'm 39. No one knows that. They always forget it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I got Benjamin Button disease, where I look and sound 22, like Andy Milonakis disease.
That's really interesting. Okay. That changes a lot of my opinions of you. Like
I know.
You're not just like an edgy racist, like you're an actual racist.
Thank you. Yes.
39. Okay.
And this is my second internet life.
Okay. So what happened in 2014 that battened down the hatches on free speech?
I started noticing, I was on OkCupid, a dating site, back in my more lustful days. And I was talking to a woman, a big old black woman, Ben. I didn't really care back then, It was all me, all for the taking.
Yeah. Okay.
And she brought up rape culture, and I was like, rape culture? How is the United States a rape culture? What are you talking about? That's never gonna stick. That's when I have a first recollection. Maybe before that, Daniel Tosh from 2011 or 2012, when he made a rape joke, and there was actual pushback against it. So I started noticing these things, and then around 2017. With what was it? Oh, I forget exactly what it was. I started to realize things. I had a podcast before this for 3 years.
Oh yeah.
And I had
talking about what?
The most offensive things on earth, Ben.
Okay, so you've been in. That's just who you are. You just like to revel in the touchy things.
Well, no. The podcast was actually using offensive humor as a conduit. I don't even know how much I should tell you. As a conduit for having really deep conversations. So on a podcast episode, very offensive humor, maybe in the first 45 minutes to an hour, and then talking about someone whose friend is dying of cancer. And then a very deep emotional conversation. So using very absurdist humor as a gateway to the endorphins that your brain lets out when you laugh, and especially if it's something offensive, the walls come down, more vulnerabilities come out. And I
Yeah.
used to have really good conversations, and I felt like I had to hide the identity of the people that I had conversations with because I saw where things were going.
Okay. Wow. All right. And were you cool with where things were going? Did it make sense that they were heading in that direction?
No, nothing made sense. I had massive amounts of anxiety and depression. I didn't know why. And then 2020 hit, and then I had extreme anxiety and depression, and then it washed over me because a lot of things started to make sense. I knew there was something wrong. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, so it was very liberating, so to speak, at that
Yeah.
point, but also terrifying.
Who helped you understand what was going on?
Oh, I mean, James Lindsay.
Yeah. Okay. You stumbled upon his work.
I knew
Your
about James Lindsay
discourses.
from like 2018 and whatnot, but like, I knew something was wrong, something was off. I hated leftists. I hated what I knew as leftists, which then became socialists, which then became communists, which now is the Jews. So
Oh, okay.
it's quite the rabbit hole, right?
All right. Does it always go in the direction of identity? Can it ever not go in the direction of identity?
I hate it when you people do this. What do you mean the direction of identity?
I don't know. When the pattern recognition software kicks in, does it inevitably result in identity-based pattern recognition? And I don't know what you mean by you people.
Like,
It's a general question.
I know we're just getting meta right now. Like, I just functionally do not think of it in the way that you're describing it. So I suppose I have difficulty
Okay.
attempting to answer your question. So I don't I am giving them like identifiers that they themselves give themselves. So it's not like this vague, nebulous identity.
Yeah.
How else can I describe them without you attributing it to identity?
Well, so not for me to get defensive, but I'm asking a question not from prior to get you to trap you. I would like to reformulate the question.
I'm a very assertive person. I don't mean anything by it. I'm
Okay.
I'm a
Yeah.
very blunt person. So
Well, yeah, and I'm a very evasive person. I'm a very tactical person.
two different styles right now.
Drives my wife crazy. She's more in your camp, though not quite your spice level.
Right.
Though if she was, it would be a different life.
You thinking right now what it would be like if my brain was in your wife's body? Then what are you thinking about?
No. We're not gonna. I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. Though it would be weird to have pillow talk with your voice in my ear. So okay, James Lindsay, dyed in the wool, classical liberal, maybe 90s liberal. I don't know what he would call himself. I guess he's a constitutional conservative. If he even wants classification, it seems like he doesn't like classification for himself. He likes classification for other people. But
Yeah.
his big critique was about this thing called identity politics. A lot of the the liberal assumptions that I grew up in as a child of the 70s, 80s, and 90s was that identity is beneath us. And identity politics was inherently wrong or bad or
Same.
against the grain or low class. But so the 90s came around, like we can be this post identity culture, like this end of history liberalism, and then identity starts to ratchet up and identity politics starts to go back to mainstream. And you can see that for smaller groups, for minorities, identity functions as a way for them to collectively exert their power onto society. And so it makes sense for them to do it. And it makes sense that the majority would have a looser sense of identity. So the white identity is so diverse and broad, and it can't afford to be as long as the whites are the majority. We can make fun of our little differences, like I'm Irish American or Irish or Italian American, something American, something Italian. And the trend now is that white identity or identity politics is now something necessary or naturally occurring in the white population because they are trending towards a minority status, and plus because they are being oppressed verbally or suppressed verbally.
Institutionally, I would say.
Institutionally attacked and vilified. And so the natural reaction to that would be to establish identity. So I'm just wondering, is there any world in which identity doesn't become ipso facto the way that that politics occurs?
I just don't. So, like when you say identity,
Yeah.
is there any situation? I mean, I feel like it's too it's being used like in a leftist way. I'm not saying
Okay,
that
good.
like
No,
pejoratively.
thanks. Yeah, no.
It feels like very abstract for me, and like anything is an identity, anything is anything. It feels like a postmodern interpretation of like identity when there's like white girls being raped in the UK by Muslim gangs and they're ignoring it, and then you're like wrapping that up into identity and the way that I'm thinking about it. So let me start here, and I've said this to my audience a few times. I'm an atheist, liberal, civic nationalist that is on the right wing.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard me classify myself as that?
Yes. Yeah, you're very forthright and honest and direct with your opinions about yourself as well as others. So that makes sense. But what can we cursorily define what you mean by right wing?
At this point, I've seen the horrors of the left. I've grown up around it, and I've seen the ineffectiveness, controlled opposition of the modern liberal. We need the right wing. The right wing at this point, I would say, in the most general, vague sense, would be you acknowledge that racism and anti-Semitism are not actual valid terms. And ultimately...
Same thing with homophobia, transphobia.
Correct. I mean, when do they ever lead to a deeper conversation? And so instead of getting caught up in a game of definitions, the way that I define these terms is as they're used in society. So homophobia, just against straight people. Racism against white people. Anti-Semitism against white people as well. Queer, I mean, this is the whole point of queer, is to just be the opposite of normal. And so that's POC is just to pin people against white people. The only function of these terms is to target the opposing demographic and to silence them. So like that's what they mean, no matter like what you say they might mean.
You bring up the word normal because I don't think to be right wing is to be normal at this point in time.
I disagree, but go ahead.
Dude, so is there, because you're not normal and it doesn't seem like you want to be normal, but maybe you want to defend normality in some respects.
Oh, I don't prescribe anyone be an atheist. I don't tell anyone to be an atheist, liberal, civic nationalist. I don't prescribe those to other people.
Civic nationalist. You sound like James Lindsay.
I know.
Actually, atheist, civic nationalist.
Well, he doesn't admit to being an atheist. I'm actually honest about what's in my head, as opposed to James Lindsay.
I like your relationship with your atheism. On streams with News Fist.
Well, I feel like that would actually drive people toward Christianity. People that say they're agnostic kind of act like they half-ass believe in something. It's like, no, own it. I like to do a hard line. Like, come on. There's plenty of hidden atheists acting like that they're, oh, I don't believe in nothing. Like, what do you believe in? Something. It's like, all right, you know if you believe, you know when you're in love, you know these emotions, these true emotions. So, admit that it's nothing. And it's very scary believing in nothing. And that can actually drive you to believe in something when you admit to yourself you don't actually believe in anything.
So you believe in nothing?
Yeah.
How does that work? Because you certainly do believe in things. You believe in the good and the beautiful and the true. I can hear it in everything that you do. Yeah.
I do believe in good. If I was, my character alignment would be chaotic good, if that helps you at all.
With the emphasis on chaos. I don't know, actually. You're very put together, but you do like poking the bear.
Yeah, I kind of got that from Sikhism. They have a concept the gurus do of poke, provoke, confront, elevate. I was already doing it, but then it put it on my radar where you poke to get someone's attention, you provoke to get a reaction, and then through that confrontation, there's an elevating of consciousness. But then that also fuses with the leftist antagonization that they use. So there's immense value in forms of antagonization to get people's attention and to open their minds.
Yeah, and to push the ratchet, and the reaction is the action, or the action is the reaction.
The reaction is the real action.
Yes.
I've studied too much James Lindsay to know that.
Well, and so you're a disciple of Saul Alinsky then, whether you like it or not.
On my YouTube channel, I call myself Lol Alinsky.
LOL?
Yeah, Lol Alinsky.
Lol Alinsky. Lol
Yeah,
Alinsky.
right. Because we gotta be. The right wing has to be more subversive.
More?
Way more subversive. Right now, there's too many right wingers that are like, I want to say the N word on YouTube, and I don't care. I'm gonna get banned, as opposed to like infiltrating YouTube. These people, we're going against people that have infiltrated institutions for decades, and you can't like hold your tongue to penetrate some of these areas of influence and power.
Yeah. Okay. So you want power?
No. I'm not a leader. Even though I'm calling myself the YouTube monarch, I like doing things as like LARPing, comedy, improv, situation. I don't think I'd be a good leader. I don't try to be. I would need advisors.
Yeah, like a panoply of wise counselors.
Yeah.
That you can just summarily discount their advice at every turn.
I'd let them know why. I already do that with my channel. If someone gives me advice, I let them know why I'm not taking it. I'd be very fair about it.
You know, I don't know how I stumbled upon your work. It must have been on YouTube, because Twitter constantly suppresses you because of certain rhetorical styles that you employ.
Well, would you say they're effective or defective?
Oh. Well, actually, okay. So when I found you, I think it was contra James Lindsay, because James Lindsay took a very sharp turn. Yeah. About 14 or 16 months ago. And I saw it coming, but he was going down this Gnostic rabbit hole, or Gnostic pattern recognition distillation process. That'd be a cool acronym, where he was distilling everything down to everything's Gnosticism. And then when woke seemed to go down in predominance, that moment is when he pivoted to critiquing the right. And I think you said that he's basically a critical theorist. He's always going against the prevailing narrative. He's always deconstructing the prevailing narrative. But I was trying to figure out what was going on with him, because we had a professional relationship on YouTube that was basically a friendship, and he declared that he had the truth and that other people were going off the mark. Everybody else was sinning except for him, because he knew the truth, and the truth was either you had to believe in the Bible or you believed in this thing called the U.S. Constitution. And then from that followed his unkindly spurg out against all of the right-wing influencers and thought leaders that I had been connecting and trying to understand and putting into kind of a collection. And as he doubled down on his increasingly cringe operations, which I think he understands what he's doing from his point of view, though he's just not a good PR person, trying to understand why he was doing what he was doing led me to you, because I would look up his name on YouTube and see what other people were thinking about him, because I was still trying to not come out against him or critique him directly. And I stumbled upon your stuff, and your analysis was part brash, part blunt, but you always had a rhetorical analysis. Like, I enjoy your work precisely because you're looking at the way that people are deploying rhetoric to affect either false things or power grabs or whatever there. So there's this core of analysis that you possess. Where did you get that? How did you come to understand how to analyze things in the way that you do?
It's a very thoughtful question. Probably 2017. I became very interested in trying to understand what was happening. I knew that I had these issues with girlfriends, okay, the behaviors I was seeing. Then I realized the thing that was called cluster B, and I'm like, well, okay, it's not all women, it's cluster B.
Yeah.
And then I started to see these things kind of politically. And so I was really fascinated with cognitive biases and just with psychology in general.
Okay.
So, for example, I came up with this probably like 7 or 8 years ago, where it's like a cycle of cognitive bias, where first it's the availability heuristic, where your brain immediately assigns priority to the first thing it thinks of, which is the emphasis on propaganda surrounding us. Because then when you see something like black man being killed by police officer, if you're already primed, you go, oh, well, it must be this thing that my brain can quickly call upon. And then that leads to the false consensus effect. So then people start to overestimate the frequency in which these things happen because it's more prevalent in their mind than it is in reality. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the false consensus effect, you can see it with really with 2016 with Trump, where they overestimate how many people are going to vote for him with polling and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. That leads to naive realism, where you think, and this is where James gets caught up, you think you see the world objectively, and those that disagree with you must be defunct.
Or a cult.
Not,
he's called me
missing.
Lost and a cult for asking.
So if you disagree with
questions.
him, there must be something you're missing. There must be something there must be something wrong with you. You must be defunct in some way.
Okay.
And
defunct,
then the fourth one, my favorite one, is pluralistic ignorance. In other words, the silent majority, where people publicly assume something is true, even though it's majority privately rejected. And this is where the left really likes to thrive, with the acceptance of gender identity and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And so really with the pluralistic ignorance is where you can change someone's mind, in my opinion, in that cycle. And then the cycle seems to kind of like start again because everything happens, 2 to 4 week news cycle. It goes just keeps going in cycles. Yeah. So I started to just think really deeply about things because I'll get a little bit of knowledge. This is why I don't read. I'll get a little bit of knowledge and my brain starts running off with whatever I think it might be, and kind of critically think myself into a position that fully makes sense to me because I thought of it. That makes sense.
If we emphasize identity, to go back, because one could, and I'm not going to, but one could take those that fourfold cycle and apply it to your work and the frequency with which you bring up the race or ethnicity of those who you critique. But well, if you could say, once
I'm going to have a knee-jerk reaction to defend myself and disagree with you. You know that.
Okay, right? No, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
So if you start noticing a pattern and you go to Wikipedia and the early life keeps on presenting you with this availability bias,
baby.
right?
It.
Availability bias, and then you get this false consensus because you're just seeing this pattern over and over and over and over and over again. That can leave you to a naive realism. I don't know. I don't.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm going to pause at the false consensus. You're just going to see this pattern, this identity pattern, but is there not a problem with overemphasizing identity because you're just going to reinforce the identity of the people who you're calling out based on their identity, and then you're making identity more and more salient, and then the outcome of that identity-based politic is segregation, separation, and conflict, either conflict, internecine, intergroup conflict, or some sort of authoritarian superstructure that suppresses all of the difference and forces people into getting along, to go along. And liberalism, broadly construed, was the Western attempt to decentralize that authority by emphasizing colorblindness and equality, like this blank slateism that everybody knew was kind of a false reality. But as long as we could push it far enough, we could de-emphasize those conflicts. So I'm just wondering how you project the emphasis on identity working out in the long run and your participation in that.
I'm so glad you can't see my face right now the entire time you were talking.
You think this is all bullshit?
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm sorry. Like when you say like identity, my brain shuts down. Because, as soon as you say identity, I'm trying to understand, like, I need to identify things, and I'm identifying them colloquially in the way that we speak. And so
Hmm.
all communication, no matter what I say,
Yeah.
is to identify the concept I'm seeing in my head and to match that concept in your head. Whatever noises come out of my mouth to do so.
Yeah.
And so you're saying like I don't know like why do you keep bringing up identity? I don't understand in what context you're using it. It's so abstract where it's like
Okay.
yeah I'm identifying things I have to in order to talk about them.
Okay. But the emphasis on the moos and the
Yeah,
nootsies in your
yeah,
work is prevalent. Where does
yeah.
that how does that work out? Like how does scaling up that identification work out?
Well, it's illegal to deny the Holocaust in 19 countries. Do you find that concerning at all, or strange, or do you just liberally go, "Hey, that's their liberal democracy"? I don't think anyone voted on that to do
No.
that in all of those countries.
All those countries are succumbing rapidly to mass immigration at the same time. Are they not?
Sure.
Probably.
Okay. Yep. Absolutely. So, what about how it's illegal to deny the Holocaust, but it's not illegal to deny your own government, to lie about your own government? That's
Hmm.
still legal. But denying the Holocaust, something that's not in those countries, is illegal.
Hmm.
Now, I bring that up,
Yeah.
and if somebody's brain just goes, yeah, so what, I don't care, then my obviously content is really not going to be for you necessarily. But that is very strange. We are the last bastion of free speech.
I think we've only been the bastion of free speech. I think America specifically is the only country or political project that has embraced free speech as
I know,
strongly as we
but
have.
rhetorically, if I call us the last one, doesn't that suggest a sense of urgency?
Okay. Yeah.
Wouldn't
All
you
right.
agree?
Yeah. Well, I guess so. As long as you can keep it.
Right. And so, that's strange. So, how would I discuss this issue, Benjamin,
Yeah.
without you bringing up the word identity again? My nose
Or
is bleeding from grabbing the bridge of my nose so hard whenever you
or
say it.
or identity politic. Well, because that's the limiting principle. So I enjoy listening to people who operate outside of the Overton window that I have decided to operate within. But
Hmm.
insofar as I am platforming, whatever that means, or insofar as I am making a bridge to thinkers and speakers such as you, I am facilitating that discourse. And I'm bringing that discourse to people who reject it or who are worried about where it ends up. Right. So I'm
Okay.
participating in a process of normalizing, which is another manipulative term.
I like that term. I use normalizing all the time to normalize what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're normalizing what you talk about. Me bringing you on here is scaling up the normalization. But
Okay.
also it's also making people who are already wary of my trajectory even more wary. Somebody brought up
Yeah.
in my contest like this is the fourth racist you've had on right in a row, Alexander Dugan and the other guy Connor Tomlinson and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I'm aware that those people like the open-minded liberals have like triggers where their mind closes around certain discourse. I want to know why that
Okay.
discourse is off bounds and how useful it is or where it runs ashore, where it just goes off the rails. Because it
Right.
has gone off the rails, but
Yeah.
it is also being one of the most salient points that Nick Fuentes brought up to Piers Morgan is the similar to what you just brought up. Why can I not talk about this stuff? And it's
Does anyone have an
because
answer?
you're controlling my discourse. It's a political weapon to allow for certain groups to gain power and to constrain my group's power. But at the same time, it's deeply ingrained. We are, even though we are the last bastion of free speech, we are my generation, your generation, and the generation after you, even though they're bucking against it more and more strongly, has been thoroughly indoctrinated to be as colorblind as possible in a certain direction and to not
Uh,
broach certain topics.
huh. Okay. So, and I do this all from a liberal perspective, okay?
Well,
So, one of the most liberal things you can do and have is freedom of association, right?
It's it's the it's the actual principle of free speech. You can't have free speech without freedom of association. Those
Why
are
would a
both part
liberal
of it.
care about white people advocating for themselves? What would be the liberal
Because
objection to that?
well, the post civil rights consensus or regime
Uh-huh.
is that white people used to do that, and that caused suffering.
Is
And
that liberal? Is that liberalism, or is that progressive, communist influenced co-optation of liberalism? Like, do you think the Civil Rights Act is an act of liberalism or communism? Let's start there.
well, I think liberalism was a reaction. Liberalism was designed to dissolve certain bonds that began with monarchy, centralized authority, and
Hmm.
to place responsibility on the individual. And as long as the individuals all collectively were more or less above the average competence and intelligence, work ethic, conscientiousness, industriousness, and so on, liberalism can function. But because it unconstrains competence, but it also unconstrains incompetence. It unconstrains a whole bunch of things. So the state comes in to equalize the groups because the outcomes are different. Those different outcomes are
Now,
going to
what you're
lead to more and more
describing with the
tensions.
government, does that sound more like liberalism or more like a progressivism that leads to socialism that leads to communism?
Well, I'm wrestling with whether or not liberalism doesn't eventually lead to state control and to proceduralism, because there's no
Excellent.
way to deal with the conflict that is the result of differing outcomes.
So, my criticism of this, and I hear this all the time, is that Sargon says this. Love Sargon. Connor Tomlinson probably has said it. I love Connor Tomlinson. That that liberalism leads to this,
Yeah.
and it was co-opted just like anything else would be co-opted. And I really want to say this to religious people that believe that liberalism leads to communism, where as if you were going to trick the devil, as if like, you know what, the devil wouldn't have been able to co-opt this if only we did this, or if only we did this, and if only we did this, then it wouldn't have happened. The devil doesn't sleep, okay? They were going to co-opt. It was going to happen no matter how we tried to do it. We're just figuring out a lot of things now. A lot of it thanks to James Lindsay. RIP. 2022, up to 2022, James Lindsay.
Yeah.
But liberalism was co-opted. And liberalism isn't meant to govern or be like a prescription necessarily. It's a set of defensive rights. Liberalism is defensive. So the trifecta in my mind is that we have liberalism defensively. Here's the baseline. Baseline: free speech, private property, freedom of association. Just very baseline, defensive.
Yeah.
It's not prescriptive, really. Then we have capitalism, which is just a mode of bartering and trading, exchanging services and goods. That's all it is. There's no prescriptive element in there. It's how we trade things. Okay.
Yeah,
Hold on.
yeah, okay.
I'll wrap
All
it real quick. Then we have Christianity, which is the prescription, which is the ought that where of where things come from in society. Liberalism goes, hey, Christianity, don't get too crazy. Christianity goes, liberalism, get off your ass and actually do these things. You'll be a better person. And then we exchange goods and services. So obviously, I'm not going deep into an analysis, but generally, that's how my brain views this. So
Okay.
please continue.
All right. No, I was just with capitalism. Well, all those, excepting Christianity, capitalism and private property revolve around contract law, revolve around stable currency. It's based on somebody enforcing private property. It's based on a state that's there that will say that the value of this dollar is going to be something like this, and then you guys can figure out the value of all the goods by using this.
We should only have Christians in office.
Really?
I don't even see the argument against it.
What kind of Christians?
Well, see, this is how convenient and fun my position is. I'm an atheist, okay?
Yeah, but you believe in the devil.
Yeah, I've only seen the devil. I've never seen God.
You've seen the devil.
Oh yeah.
Like Tucker Carlson waking up in the middle of the night, devil? Or?
No, I just mean, I've seen among the worst things that humanity has to offer.
Yeah.
In a variety of ways.
Like over the internet or in person?
No, in person, in real life, and just what my own brain has done to me when I've been at my lowest, darkest times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I understand it. When I say that, I mean, you know, the epitome of the devil is the worship of the self, essentially. And I see what happens when people only care about themselves hedonistically and where that leads.
Yeah.
Their own desires above everybody else, kind of thing.
Okay. And sorry to derail you, but
it's fine.
So you're an atheist, but you think that it's obvious that Christians should hold office, at least in our system.
I mean, it built the West. It built our laws.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's essentially foundationally how we got here. It's through Christianity.
Didn't it provide you the ability to be an atheist?
Oh, liberal, definitely. I don't know about an atheist because if there wasn't Christianity, I would probably still believe in nothing, I assume, right? But without Christianity, I wouldn't. It was from Protestantism, I believe, where liberalism emerged. So I believe, I wouldn't have liberalism without Christianity. I would probably still have atheism without Christianity.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. No, go on.
And then with civic nationalism, I mean, that is a universalism that comes from liberalism. So that would also be probably from Christianity. I would probably still have atheism, but I probably wouldn't have the other two without Christianity.
You don't want a Christian in government that would force you to performatively be a Christian? Or maybe you're okay with that.
At this point, I've said this, I would be gladly, compared to whatever the hell we have now, a second-class citizen under a Christian theocracy over what we have now. No problem. I can act like it. I could act like, being on the left, you have to act like things don't bother you all the time when they're crazy. Yeah. I had to act like trans people were normal. I could act like Christ exists, okay? If I can do all this other performative things on the left, I can easily do that. And what's the prescription at the end of the day? Hey, believe Christ exists. Okay. Also, get a wife and have kids. Oh, if you're going to twist my arm. All right. I'll try. What is that? Oh, no, be the head of a household where a woman is listening to essentially everything I say. Not that, please. Tell me how it would be scary. That's what I don't get about it.
I'm ingesting this book that I probably shouldn't say the name of. It popped up in my YouTube feed, and it caused me nightmares, actually. It's probably one of the scariest books that I've come across in quite some time. It's called Culture of Critique by Kevin MacDonald. It's a third part of his trilogy, analyzing Judaism from the lens of a evolutionary system that is adaptive, is highly adaptive. And he starts with just that basic thesis, and he goes in and he starts to parse through all of the data, the historical data that he has with that subject, because he's just using Judaism as a case example, a case study in
it's been around for a while.
Adaptive cultural matrices. But by the third book, which is Culture of Critique, he basically says that they control everything. He goes into psychoanalysis, Frankfurt School, the media, and history of the 20th century. Says basically I asked Daryl Cooper about this. I'm like, this is really startling stuff, because he keeps on coming up with tons and tons of data. Kevin MacDonald does to support his case. I'm like, Daryl Cooper, what do you think about this? Daryl Cooper is he does not shy away from talking about these issues and playing around with ideas around the founding mythos of our age. And I think he's actually much more liberal and much more kind-hearted than his detractors suppose, but he also has deeply studied these issues. So I wanted his input. He's like, well, Kevin McDonald focuses too much on this one sub-ethnic group of the Jews called the Ashkenazi Jews.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm ingesting this and I'm seeing this pattern, this really startling pattern. And Kevin's saying, this group was suppressed by the West and figured out an adaptive strategy to survive in this hostile environment by subverting the Gentiles, the Western Gentiles, on every front that they could possibly subvert them. And once you see it as an act of subversion, and you can say morally, or not morally, maybe amorally, it's like, this is just an adaptive mechanism so this group can survive, but it's also causing my group harm. It's causing my society to be, you could put the case that Freud led to the sexual revolution. The sexual revolution led to massive declining birth rates, and then those declining birth rates, this declining sense of ethnos, has led to Western countries being swamped by immigrants and not having the collective will to stop that process. So it's just entering into that conversation. I know it's just it's a trigger, because any kind-hearted liberal Jews that are listening to me, or still listening to me, can suppose that I am threatening their way of life by bringing this all up, right? But if we have the conversation and no blame is put around, it's just like, this is how these evolutionary things work, then we can start to be a little bit more honest about where things are headed and have mutual respect for each other, rather than this hostile, or, as you say, suppressive regime that, for some reason, the Republicans want to make anti-Semitism, whatever that means, illegal in this country.
Right.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's just true. I mean, when I was doing anti-communism videos, I had to consciously ignore all of the Jewish names I was seeing, okay? I had to consciously ignore them, because I'm like, I don't want to attract J-Spurgs, okay?
No, in either direction.
I don't know how, what? Are there J-Spurgs on the left?
No, I'm just saying there's pro and anti-J-Spurgs. There's people who make their entire online life about that identity.
I see what you're saying.
Either against that identity or for that identity. But they make all conversations about that identity.
Yeah, and I want to be able to take things that people are uncomfortable talking about and talk about them in a silly, lighthearted way that also goes into some depth. But I had to consciously ignore that, and then I stopped ignoring it, and it kept going, and it keeps going. Mm-hmm. And then I just... Well, see, but here's the thing. I don't get lost down rabbit holes. I go a little bit down a rabbit hole, and I go, that's about enough. Yeah,
okay.
That's I get it. I get the idea.
Yeah. Because there's some place you want to be, and you don't want to lose track of where you are or lose your grounding.
There's no utility in me going down a rabbit hole. I don't have a utility. That now, what do I do with this knowledge and information? The further back I go, the further back I go.
Yeah.
I'm trying to have casual conversations. I'm trying to have colloquial conversations, things that we understand, and I can interject something every once in a while, something that someone might not know, just little tidbits here and there. And I just show the receipt. You see what I'm saying? Rather than going on this long diatribe and this chain of events, that it's just I don't know. I don't find it very compelling or useful. And other people can go and tell you that stuff if you want to go on this big, long journey. But I just know that it does exist. And I know that I try to have... This is what I took from Charlie Kirk. Wisdom over knowledge. I always used to call it universal truths. Even when I was, more on the left or whatever. 10 years ago. I really want to try to condense really complicated ideas down to something very simple and very digestible. I've always really attempted to do that. Mm-hmm. And so, see, now my brain's going.
When you were a teenager, did you dream of... aspire to be a podcaster? Is that what you wanted?
So, I have been listening to myself recorded on audio since I was 6 years old.
Really?
I've been watching myself recorded on video since I was 12 years old.
Okay.
So I've actually essentially watched my entire life.
Yeah.
I've always had access to like listening to myself and looking at myself,
Hmm.
which just made me like hyper aware.
Of yourself.
Yes. So people will think that like I don't realize what I just said. I unfortunately, everybody, I'm very aware of everything I'm saying.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm just not concerned with the reaction to it necessarily.
Are you concern isn't the right word, but I'm just going to use it right now. Are you concerned about the effect that it's going to have? Do you care about the effect?
Affect how?
I don't know. Like what would be the effect of your work if you had any say over that? I don't mean that judgmentally. I'm not trying to
That's
like
fine. I
corner
want
you. I'm
people.
just curious about what you want to
I want
accomplish.
people to laugh and think. As a liberal, okay,
Hmm.
I can't tell you what to think, but something that really fuels me is when other people try to control your brain and tell you what to think. That really pisses me off.
Yeah.
That's your brain.
Yeah.
So, religious people might go, well, you have a soul, okay? Well, I'm a materialist, so you have a brain, right? Your consciousness, what makes you you. And when people start trying to fuck with that, with people, sorry, when people start trying to mess with people in that way, trying to control what they think and make them feel guilty and like demoralize them and trying to get in the way of them making their own decisions and opinions, that
Hmm.
bothers me on a very deep level.
Yeah.
So,
That's where I left the IDW, or where the IDW left me, broadly speaking.
how
So
do
when
you
they,
mean?
when all of those free speech absolutists began to pile asterisks at that on atop that absolutism, and they say, well, you can't talk about this, you can't talk to this person, or if you're going to talk to this person,
Right.
you should really ask hard questions, you shouldn't give any softball interviews to the people. It's like, well, you give softball interviews all the time.
Mm-hmm.
What are you actually trying to do? Are you trying to control? Well, I don't want to control what you say. I'm just saying there's social consequences. Like, you sound a lot like the people that you were fighting against 5 years ago when they said that there's no freedom from consequences. And now you want to have the ability to give consequences to speech. But I'm still concerned, or curious rather, about the consequences of certain speech. The consequences of bringing up identity, bloody nose.
Well, what's the consequence? So I guess that I need to know why I should be scared. Try and scare me.
Oh, I'm. See, I don't believe in fear. I think fear is a mechanism of control.
Same.
I think that's what James has adopted
Yeah.
as a controlling mechanism
So let's
over the
replace the word.
conversation.
Let's replace that. Give me a word, a descriptive word of like if it's not fear, then like what? Because typically you fear a consequence. I'm using that colloquially, right?
Yeah.
So then, what should we use in place of the word fear, is to get to the heart of the question that you're asking me, so I can give you the most accurate answer.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I don't mean, are you worried about, like, it's not the negative thing. It's like, because you're participating in culture, you're participating in discourse,
Hmm.
and there are going to be consequences to what you are doing, what you bring up. The choices that you make on what content to produce do have consequences.
What consequences are you
Well,
talking
I
about?
think for you help me understand, to put some distance between my feelings for James, as you know, my beneficial feelings for James, and then me trying to question, well, am I missing something? Am I defunct because he thinks I'm in a cult? He thinks I'm going down some scary path. So I want to know why.
I get mad on behalf of other people. That even there's a chance that a lot of these things make me more mad than you, even though it's your body and they're happening to you, because of how much it pisses me off that I can like see.
My
I'm very
body,
in
your
tune.
choice. Huh?
See, that's why I gotta hide my face. Don't come to my house, please. But
Oh,
like,
that's true. Yeah.
yeah. So, but that's why, like, I will get more mad on behalf of you
Yeah.
sometimes.
So that's another. You're a good liberal that way. Surrogate offense is a hallmark of the good liberal. The threat,
I can't explain
threat to
to my audience that I'm a
justice
liberal.
anywhere.
They think I'm a kid. They think I'm kidding.
Yeah. Well, how does liberalism not lead to where it has led? Do you have any
It was
guesses?
co-opted. They feminized it, just like any other. It's feminized Christianity that we have. That's why we're seeing a resurgence of a more masculine Christianity.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing more a liberal advocates for than discrimination. When they were private property is nope. And do I need a reason why? If it's a right, do I need a reason why? Like hiring, free enterprise. Oh, I don't want to hire him because he's black. That's like the most liberal thing you can possibly do.
To allow somebody to do that, or to do that yourself.
Well, you have the right to do it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Your own business.
Yeah.
Your own private business. Well, isn't that like the epitome of liberalism? To discriminate. Isn't that like why we would have liberalism?
Because the freedom to discriminate. But then you have to have this neutral institution, so-called, that you think doesn't need to be or shouldn't be neutral, so it should be a Christian institution. So you assumably are okay with the government hiring or putting some sort of quota into place in the direction of Christian values, I guess?
Well,
which would make it less than liberal, because it would be the government itself would be prejudiced.
Right, but liberalism is a defensive position, okay? So, if I'm a liberal and I'm like, oh, I'm all about because I'm a hyper individualist, but everyone can't be me. Society doesn't run with me's; it runs with Christians, right? We can't have a bunch of people out for themselves. Not out for themselves, but hyper individualists that are atheists. You can't have a society that runs that way. We need cohesion to run a society. We're trying to live in a society over here.
Yeah.
So I acknowledge that.
Yeah.
And so that's why I also said that Christianity is the prescription. Mm-hmm. Yes, we should have more Christians in society. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. We have seen correlating as a materialist, Christianity go down, degeneracy go up. Not good. Not sustainable, turns out.
Who do you think your audience is?
Religious people somehow.
Religious people. When did you start your current iteration of online influencing?
I started the channel probably in the beginning of 2023 when I was talking to the then Lindsay-ites.
Okay.
When things were cool.
Yeah.
And
were you a Lindsay-ite at that point?
No. I don't do idolatry. I can't be in a collective. I really suck at being in any sort of collective.
All right. Yeah. But you wanted to interact with them. Why were you attracted to them or them to you?
I was going crazy. I was like, because no one in my IRL life knows what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
With I notice a lot of things that are wrong. And I was noticing it for years, and I'm like, I don't care who it is. I need to talk to people. And they were noticing a lot of things. I'm like, oh, this is so fun to talk about it. Going in X spaces were a little bit different back then when they first happened. Mm-hmm. And then really in June of this year, when I started making videos about James Lindsay and noticing a turn, that's when the channel shifted, baby.
Oh, was that in June? It seemed like a little bit earlier than that, but you would know.
April?
It was this past spring.
Everything's a whirlwind now, Ben.
Yeah.
It's happening so quickly. I don't know.
Your numbers are clicking up. When did you and Fist start doing your Friday live streams?
Maybe 3 months ago.
Okay. How did you guys get hooked up?
He would comment on stuff. We would just talk about stuff. And I did have a podcast with somebody who was a Lindsayite, but not really willing to make the right-wing plunge. So there's 10 episodes of a podcast that was on my channel with that person, and I'm like, I need to go as right. I need to see how right-wing is to right-wing.
Okay.
I really needed that space to do that. He was not on board with that, and so I was talking to Fist, and I already had a bunch of Orthodox people in my audience.
Ortho bros.
We do like 2 episodes, then I find out he's an ortho bro. I didn't even know that before we did the stream.
Okay.
I'm just crawling all over the place.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It is.
Why do you think? Do you have any guesses why
I get to sin?
They align with you?
Because sinning is fun, okay? I don't have to think about immorality. They're not sinning. They're just watching a sinner. Okay? I don't know how I'm sinning, but I have to be in one way or another. And so I get to be very brash and attacking, and they don't have to, but they're like, he's kind of right, but I wouldn't say it that way. I know.
Okay.
I know you wouldn't.
So why would you decide in your words to go right and see how far right you can go? Why right?
because I've been told to be scared of it, because I was in the Proud Boys in 2017 and we were
Really?
called Nazis. Yeah. And it was civic nationalists. And it was just, I had enough. I'm like, the leftists ain't doing anything. What really pissed me off is once Trump gets into office, all of a sudden James Lindsay is attacking the right. I'm like, I thought we were going to start really attacking the left, the people burning cars, a
And
long
shooting
list of
people in
things
the
that you
throat.
already know. Yes.
Yeah.
And so that broke me. I'm just like, this is useless. I need to see. This is just feels like controlled opposition at this point. And the right wingers are little puppy dogs. They're nice. They have offensive sense of humor. Mostly religious, so they have like sound morality. But like, I just never was exposed to Christians that had an offensive sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't think that was a thing. I thought you're moral and you can't swear or find awful things funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what my brain had been around. And then being exposed to more religious people that have warped senses of humor. It's really that simple.
I don't know if you can have a sense of humor that's not warped somehow.
I know, but I have a really warped sense of humor.
Well, I mean, it's not totally off the beaten path.
I am a very subdued person with what you've heard from me.
Yeah, I'm sure. You're able to go as far as you to go.
Comedy has been my god, so to speak. It's how I get my truth. It's how I get my medicine, my healing. It's what I always go to is comedy.
Okay, so you did 10 episodes of a podcast with a guy who's on the Lindsay side of
Yeah,
things.
he does the Limiting Principle podcast now on YouTube.
Okay.
His name's Patrick. And those are two Lindsay-ites. I can call them, but I know those two people because of who I was talking to at the beginning of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So they're in between Lindsay and Artie and Fist, okay?
Okay.
They're to the left of us and to the right of James Lindsay, we would say.
James, well, he didn't invent it, but he basically promulgated it. He made that his central identity was no longer being anti-woke, but anti-woke right. Like, what are they positively trying to...
This is where my rage comes from, because we spent all this time looking at people like Hassan Piker, and he can do and say all these things. They get unlimited respawns. They can do and say whatever they want as long as they're on message, being pro-leftist, pro-communist, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I noticed that James Lindsay can say and do whatever he wants, and they have this blind allegiance to him. And I'm just like, what is this?
Okay.
Why can he say and do no wrong? A lot of them got a certain flag in their profile.
Yeah.
It really, and then, but here we go. I don't mean to make it about identity, but did you see him go to Israel?
That was weird to me. That's when I just let go. That's when
that's when I ramped it up, baby.
That felt so perverse to me.
Please talk to me about how you feel, please.
I can't see your face, so I don't know exactly what you mean by that.
Please.
But I'm going to assume that
My hands are up right now. Okay, my hands are up, as if I was putting them on both of your breasts right now. They are at chest level.
Okay.
And I'm going, dude, please tell me how you feel about that. I'm so interested in that because I got postulations, but I want to hear why that was like a pivotal point for you.
Because even though that wall, so he posted a picture of him praying at this wall that for some reason people have to go and pray for. I still haven't looked up why, but I know it's a sign of that this client group is a part of who you serve as a politician or as an influencer. You serve the special interests of this group. It's a sacred spot, and him posting that, knowing the backlash to it, denigrated that. It at once showed that he was aligned to this special interest group and also will tread all over their symbols for his trolling purposes. I don't know. It felt incredibly disrespectful.
Did you view it as an obviously intentional act of antagonization?
Yeah, it was a troll, and you shouldn't do that.
Like, obviously. but it felt like obviously it was. You didn't feel like you were speculating that it was. You were like, oh, I mean, that's just to like be like, haha, internet, when it's supposed to be like a religious holy site and it's supposed to be like a kind of a personal thing. But you knew it was to bother people.
Yeah, it was just taking that thing and just degrading it down to this war that he has against whatever he means by the woke riot. He turned it into it. He used that special interest group as a weapon against the enemies that he's created for himself.
I know, but do you see how it's so fascinating that he'll go to those lengths to fight against something you can't even define still? Like, I don't even know who the hell he's fighting necessarily, but he's willing to do all of that to fight this unknown enemy. It's such a fascinating phenomenon.
Yeah, it's a very fascinating phenomenon. In a private DM, you said that he is a gift. He's a gift for some reason, and I'd like you to articulate that. I think his behavior, and I'm sorry I'm talking about him. Only boring people talk about people. But he is the epitome of a certain type of person that was very useful in not in a derogatory sense, but very useful in the fight to correct the trajectory of American politics. And then he becomes stuck at a certain point, or they become stuck at a certain point around certain issues. It's the neocon, rules-based, post-World War II consensus morality mythos that is no longer serving the people that it was serving. And plus, I think that there's always an air for white non-Christian Europeans to glom on to that stance. I think they have something sexual that they want to preserve against the coming Christian Taliban if it goes in that direction. Wow. You're either trying to fight for your minority status ethnically or sexually, I think.
Wow. That's an interesting take. I called him a gift because we are never going to have another James Lindsay. There is no one like him, not even remotely close. The cosmos aligned to make a James Lindsay. I'll keep it short. Yep. It just so happens that the personality type of James Lindsay, and I'm going to leave my speculations off the table. Let's just keep it there. The personality type of James Lindsay just so happened to collide with like going on Joe Rogan and having these like upper echelons of attention brought to him. Mm-hmm. And then it went away in a way that I've never seen. And I
relevance,
influence, organic reach and engagement.
Yeah.
Any metric of success. That's why I say he doesn't make money, he takes money. You can see his engagement is not there. There's live streams that he goes on and whatnot. But he'll criticize Tim Pool who's actually like making money, or Nick Fuentes who's like, you can see that they're actually there's grassroots support behind them. Mm-hmm. And he has, just like the left, doubled down, tripled down, quintupled down on his position, and there's never a way he can get out of it. So it is just like one of the most legendary lol cows that will ever exist. That's why it's so funny. Because like a lol cow, no matter what you say to them, no matter what you do, they are unchangeable. They are immovable. You can tell them exactly what's happening, why people are laughing at them, and they're never going to change, which is then why all you can kind of do is like laugh at them. There's no reasoning with a lol cow, so to speak.
Do you understand his project? I mean, so you're talking about the personality type, but I think it's just something that I'm trying to figure out because I have to define myself in relation to where I was, and I was kind of around him, and I didn't necessarily agree with everything, but he was very useful in mapping out what I was mapping out, and now I've moved on, and he's stayed the same. And then people that are rhetorically or public relations better than him, the Kissins, not so much the Babylon Bee guys, but Kissin still got it. He's still trying to maintain the thing that he wants to maintain. I just don't understand I understand why they fear the ending of the post-war consensus, but I don't. It's like they had all the answers to wokeness, but they don't have any answers to the Fuentes-ness.
Thank you. Yes, I've been covering this on stream lately,
Yeah.
where like, okay, you don't want Fuentes to get so popular. What are your solutions instead? They never have solutions. In fact, James Lindsay's solution is to wait 20 years. Unironically, not kidding. That's
What do
on
you mean
stream.
wait
It's been
20
covered.
years?
Do you want me to get into it, or you want to talk about something else? If we're not going to talk about James Lindsay, I could. No. I just don't want. You had said something about talking about James Lindsay. I don't know if you want to keep talking about
Well,
this topic.
I just want to frame it, one, in case he shows up and listens to him. I hope his feelings aren't hurt too much, but also it's not.
Oh my God, you care about his feelings. I'm sorry, that was rude.
Well,
Sorry.
it's not. No, it's fine. It's not just about him. It's like it's understanding the moment we are in and why there's this huge gulf between the people who are trying to fight against this thing that they call the woke right, and then the people who are actually assessing our situation, then trying to formulate how we're going to get out of it and how we're going to go forward.
Yeah, so in that context, he prescribes, this is in a conversation with Julie Belling, who made Beneath Sheep's Clothing,
Yeah.
where she's like, all right, James, you're the solutions guy, you're the guy that knows a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
What in the next 4 years can we do? And he goes, well, you really don't know what you're talking about if you think it can be done in 4 years. Hopefully it can be done in 20 or 30 years with litigation. And he goes, that's the real solution that nobody wants to hear. Everybody wants a Band-Aid solution, but the real truth is that it's going to take 20 or 30 years. You know, another generation. We've seen what the left has done in the last 5 years with children, but apparently the only solution that James Lindsay will give us is in 20 to 30 years.
To fix,
litigation.
I guess, the solution to what? To fix the trajectory of the American government, the West?
With academia, lawsuits.
Okay.
And then hopefully we have another 12 years of Republican rule. And then this is the case for monarchy and for a dictatorship. In the liberal democracy, we're passing the political football back and forth. We can't get anything done. And you can see the benefit of having 40 years of the same person with a roadmap of what they're going to be doing to actually get a lot of stuff done.
Yeah.
So that right there is an excellent criticism materially in our world right now with how, you know, all this stuff is going to be undone in 4 years when there's a Democrat elected, right? And then it's nothing really gets done in the country.
Yeah.
Which is why people are like, well, screw this system. We need to put a dictator in charge and start getting things done because it's becoming imminent for a lot of people. And
Do you think it's feasible for America to have a dictator?
No. I understand the desire, definitely. I wouldn't tell someone that they're being ridiculous or anything like that. Now, conversely, we are already just not enforcing our existing laws. I feel like what the left really wants to do is make it seem like the system is broken, so it needs to be burned down. Whether the left burns it down, whether the right burns it down, all the left cares about is burning down the system. So there's people on the right that go, see, the system isn't working. And it's like, we don't even have, prosecutions. You know, they're letting criminals out. Like, we're not prosecuting effectively. Like,
we're prosecuting the just.
You're right.
Prosecuting the Daniel Perrys. I don't know if Luigi Mangione is going to get prosecuted. He probably has to be, but
I wouldn't even be surprised at this point. But I mean, but you see what I'm saying, where we do have it's the people that are in those positions of power. And then it comes down to, well, Artie, how do we get the right people in positions of power? It's a very sticky, uncomfortable situation. Okay.
What is it? How?
Well, we're a lot of so there's prescriptions I can make, but I'm not this is why I'm not a prescriptive person. It's pie in the sky stuff. It's ideological. It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
I mean, we would need to, first of all, democracy needs to be way more limited. And I don't even think that's a contentious opinion. Having dumb people that don't know anything vote is ridiculous. And this is also through the Voting Rights Act, which you go, oh, but that, gave people, the black people, the right to vote. And it's like, yeah, but it also removed the literacy requirement to vote. So it didn't degrade voting necessarily because it was black people, but it's the things that they also put into the bill. So, I mean, we would need to have way less people voting. We would have to have people voting that actually have a stake in the country, whether that's whatever service, whether you have a family, whatever qualifiers we would agree upon.
Or you can do what the leftists do and just like let people vote, but do whatever you want anyways.
What do you mean?
I mean, just nobody voted for mass migration. It just happens, you know.
Oh.
People vote against it. It just happens.
Oh, yeah. You mean like Brexit? You mean, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Well, see, and this is the liberal democracy, and this is the criticism. And I can't, as a liberal, I'm not going to go, oh, you're trying to take away my liberalism. It's like, no, it's not perfect. It's fallible.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is a great critique of liberalism. Absolutely.
Yeah, I guess it's the defensiveness of the classical liberals, the 90s liberals, the left-me liberals around Fuentes, around the monarchs and the Yarvinites and stuff. It's the defensiveness, it's the touchiness, it's the desire to not really engage in their phrase good faith with these different critiques.
They seem to function as controlled opposition. They don't really want you to do anything. They want bureaucracy to plug things up for years and years and years, and nothing actually ever changes. Hey, but they're against the left. It's like, oh, congratulations. You're against transitioning children. Wow. Courageous, obviously. They're against mass migration. Oh, wow. Incredible. And they're capitalist. Okay. Rhetorically, they function like leftists, though. So we can't actually change anything in society, right?
Do you see anybody who's been able to maintain their liberalism while engaging with the certain turns that have been happening on the dissident sphere of the right? People that have maintained their high standards and been able to engage with the critiques given to them?
No, that's what's missing. That's why I'm trying to carve out, first of all, a defensible position. It's going to be difficult to be Nick Fuentes because him saying he's a Catholic and the way he behaves and whatnot, kind of tough, you know, having a prescriptive identity like that. That's why I commend a lot of people that will have a more, you know, prescriptive identity. Me, I'm the kind of guy that's doing YouTube commentary, but then I got kind of bored with YouTube commentary because there's a wealth of comedy right now because of things that people are afraid to make fun of, right? And so I'm really tapping into that well of comedy. It's really blacks and Jews. I don't even know what else can you not talk about? It's really those two things. And so I wanted to say atheist, liberal, civic nationalist, because those are really easy for me to defend. And no one's going to call me if someone calls me a bad atheist, it's because I'm being a good Christian. If someone calls me a shitty liberal, it's because I'm being more of a conservative, right?
Yeah.
They call me like, oh, you're a civic nationalist, but you're advocating for white people. You're a shitty civic nationalist. Any of those three identities, if I'm called shitty on them, is actually a positive identifier.
How do you choose your content, or does your content choose you?
It has to piss me off.
Okay.
I get the feeling, you know?
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you get the feeling that you want to talk to somebody and you don't even necessarily know what you want to say, but you just know you want to talk to them. It's kind of a non-verbal feeling that I get.
Yeah.
It's really hard to like try to force myself to make content about things. But I've just developed like a sense something will bother me, and I'm like, that's it. There's something there that other people like aren't seeing. It feels weird, like it feels egotistical to say that I'm seeing things other people aren't seeing. I don't know how else to explain it, but I try to I try to plant a flag in something early on.
What do you mean? Plant a flag early on? Like in a phenomena that you see generating, and you're gonna go
like with James Lindsay. I was one of the first really cranking out videos on like what is happening right now. Mike Cernovich had I got like a million views on X when he reposted on I don't know 2 accounts ago that were banned on James Lindsay saying like he woke up the Morning Star kind of thing, and then Sargon used my clip on his show. So when I say plant a flag early, it's like I am seeing something. And I am making a stink about it right now. Yeah. Because I very much think it's going to be a bigger thing. We need to start talking about it.
Do you have a sense of the normies? Like and maybe it's a false consensus because your views, your engagement is going up very steadily and I commend you on your success. You're doing very successful.
It's a surprise to me too.
You're tapping into something.
I am.
But is it a niche audience, or do you think that there's this normie base that is, when you talk about that pluralistic ignorance, there is in the commentariat, in the anti-woke IDW commentariat, there's this huge blind spot, and that's why I've gone in the direction I've gone. Go into the dissident sphere, because those are the people that these guys are just leaving off of their map. And now you see them getting more and more mad because these guys are claiming more and more attention space. And that's why they're so mad at Tucker, because Tucker's following the same general instinct or the same general orientation that you and I are following. Like, there's something over here that you're not supposed to talk about. And Tucker's pretty brilliant. I'm pretty sure he's doing it on purpose. He's sparking these purity spirals in these people who were on side. But it's showing where these people don't want to go.
Masterclass sometimes from Tucker with how well he like antagonizes people in a passive aggressive way.
Oh, he's so good. And if you don't, and the funny part is that these otherwise intelligent people are just completely blind to how he's playing them. He's just totally playing them.
I know, but it's so under the radar. But I pick up on so many things that he does, so many backhanded comments that he makes, and he says it like this. What? I'm just saying that's it's kind of weird.
Yeah, he's a rhetorician. Do you get a sense of where he is headed or going or trying to shape?
I don't really. I don't. I'm not in the business of like. No, I don't try to mind read people or like assume what their intentions are going to be. Yeah. Me personally, that's just completely fruitless and not interesting to me. Of like, what do you think he's thinking? I'm just like, I don't know, man.
No, I appreciate that pushback. What I'm trying to ask broadly is that he's pushing things in a certain direction. I'm just wondering, do you get a sense of what that direction is?
Here's the direction that I want at the end of the day in the broadest terms possible. Jews and Israelis are allowed to collectivize in a certain way. And we just want to be able to do what they are allowed to do. Okay? They have a country, religious, ethno-centric country. Did you know that James Lindsay wouldn't be allowed to get married in Israel? Did you know that?
What do you mean married?
They don't have governmental marriage. They only have marriage through religious institutions. If you asked Grok right now, would James Lindsay be allowed to get married in Israel? It would say no, he wouldn't be. I've asked it. And it's because he doesn't have a religious affiliate. It has to be a religious marriage.
Right.
So they don't even have even their marriages are purely religious.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, we wouldn't mind that here, but we're not allowed to have that.
No, we're not allowed to have that.
Are. No, that is the issue.
The Middle East is different than America. America's different. We're different. And the one thing that is important to me in reading The Culture of Critique isn't so much about understanding the hidden power structures or whatever. And it's a very solid book. I mean, I don't really understand the context and how correct or incorrect he is. It's a lot. But he keeps on bringing up the ethnic particularity of the Western European way of life. Our marriage systems, our morality systems, and how they've been undermined by certain forces. But who are we as a European, Northwest European people? And then how did we found America? And then what is America without that? Like, what would happen to this place without that?
We are rebuilding our white identity in the modern age. We realize we've been lied to for a long time. A lot of people are becoming aware to this. And so it's going to be a little cringe when white people are rebuilding their identity. Okay, you know, cringe, it's going to be a little weird.
Okay.
They're figuring things out. They're trying to rebuild their identity.
Even you. See, you're allergic to identity as a good Western white guy. You're allergic to having an identity. You're allergic to the word identity, but eventually I corner you and you're like, we have to have an identity.
Well, what do you have if you don't have an identity? What are you?
That's what I'm saying. So I'm agreeing with you. I'm glad that we got...
You have an identity. I have an identity. And then this identity is because they've been, and it's not organic. I mean, I'm pretty sure James Lindsay, along with showing clips of Yuri Bezmenov talking about demoralization, right? White people, specifically, with among the highest unaliving rates in the country as white men while being told that they're privileged.
Self-deleting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However that works.
Well, we have to do the per capita thing, but...
It's Native Americans aside from... white men.
Well, and why would that be? I mean, it's very obvious. Native Americans don't have an identity, so why?
Alcoholism, really.
Alcoholism becomes a replacement identity or some sort of ameliorative effect for not having stake
But
in life.
white people aren't allowed to have a white identity while they are being shown that other people are allowed to have an identity. Now, on top of that, white Christians built the West.
Yeah.
So it's perverse. You're the one people, and here's the thing: the most freedom people have is when white Christians are in charge. It actually is better for everybody when white Christians go, white Christians, but hey, we got some universalist principles, and there's differences, but we can coexist. That is the most freedom that we can have.
Yeah, and I think that you would have everybody would be better off to allow organically that identity to manifest itself, because it's going to manifest itself in an individualistic, universalistic manner and allow for other people to take advantage of it to a certain degree. But you can't take too much advantage of it and whip the people at the same time.
There's also a racial reckoning. There's
Really?
also, so you can't. First of all, I just want to give white people a round of applause for like not going on a shooting spree. Okay, we have been holding off very well for the level of antagonization that we've gone through. I don't know if you've ever talked to any white people that went to black schools. It's not fun. There's a lot of stuff that I know about that no one will ever care about.
Yeah.
No news outlet or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's been happening for a long time, okay?
Yeah.
And there's some white people that really will not let go of that resentment, and I can't tell them not to. I understand it. You know? I guess I really understand white people being like unbelievably. I understand virtually every white emotion, if that makes sense. How else do I explain it? How else do I explain it?
I want a picture, Pixar picture about the white emotions, like a little rom-com.
Well, I mean, it's because they're being told it's because they're white. They're not being hired because they're white.
Yeah.
There's whiteness studies. Like if you look up Asian power, black power, those are okay. White power is not okay. All of these double standards. Admittedly, the Jews have said civil rights, that they've pushed civil rights. Civil rights have only not been there for white people. And the reason why there's so much resentment toward Jews is because all of these ADL, CSIS that does statistics, we got SPLC. They don't advocate for white people in like the past 20 years when there's been clear discrimination against white people.
I mean, I understand that the resentment that the Jews have inherited from their treatment at the behest of Western Europe and Eastern Europe and Europe in general and Russia too. But at the same time, I think that they have it better. I don't know. Maybe they'd get along better in a caliphate. No, they want Israel. I guess they don't want a caliphate. But it'd be cool if they were on side.
Well, here's the issue, Ben. And I don't know how else to say this, but I've had some issues with the blacks, okay? But I've found blacks that understand what I'm saying, okay? They go, yeah, I also don't like N-words as well, you know? There's a difference between that, an N-word, so to speak, or an unsavory, toxic black, whatever, however we're going to categorize, thug that, whatever. And, a respectable black person's like, yeah, I also don't, yeah. And then I can have a conversation with them about race and whatnot, and we just, we're on the same side. I can have that conversation with women that are like, yeah, these feminists are out of their mind, completely out of their mind. I understand what you're saying. It's really hard to find a Jew to have this conversation with. Still looking. Hey, there's a third chair on Artie and Fist. Okay, if we can find a Jew that can talk about this and understand what we're saying, and be like, yeah, that is messed up, but not recoil into a neurotic.
Well, you'd have to find either an Orthodox. Yeah, you'd have to find an Orthodox Jew, somebody who's not a Reformed, Protestantized Jew. Like,
even
Simpson,
like
maybe
an ethnic Jew. I won't even. I'll take a non-religious Jew.
No, I just think that there's something about I don't know, but there are.
You understand the point that I'm making?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no. Go further. What point are you making?
I can find out of these, groups that have been striated in society now. It's easy. easier for me to find women that oppose feminism, but that are still like liberal civic nationalists, let's say, moderate, normal, whatever.
Yeah.
Same with black people. Okay.
Yeah.
Normal, moderate, civic nationalists. Hard to find a Jew that's like, oh yeah, dude, that stuff's definitely true, and they do coordinate with each other, and they have all of these NGOs where money passes through, and go down the list. I can go down the list with feminism, and what's happened with black people, but I don't even see any Jewish person really be able to discuss this. And I'd like to find one, but that's the liberal in me, you see? I'm like, there's got to be one out there. Come on. There's got to be some. I just haven't found them.
Yeah, I don't think, to go back to the positive white identity, cringe though it will be, I think it essentially has to embark upon a sincere desire to understand Christianity and to implement that in one's life and in one's culture. I think Christianity will eventually be Western Christianity. I don't know necessarily Catholicism or Protestantism, but like a deep, sincere Christian, historically rooted understanding. That's the path forward for a white identity. If one,
yeah.
If
it wouldn't be an atheist white identity. Well, that's the thing. But they are connected. Like we make this joke all the time on stream where the classical liberals are talking about, the fathers of classical liberalism, and it's not Thomas Mugabe, and it's European men that like all of these writings, right? And like what they may have had in mind, did they know about Vietnamese people in the 1700s? Like think of their version of liberalism, did that include 77 different languages being spoken in the Boston public school system nowadays? Did they even know it was possible to be this diverse? I'm pretty sure they might have thought there was like 4 or 5 races in the 1700s.
I don't think you reverse that diversity. I guess it kind of washes out in a melting pot style, but I don't think I think melting pot was another myth. I just don't know how these things get reversed but remigration or
organically these things could have happened, but these things did not happen, or these are manufactured and it happened in society intentionally. What is your opinion on what I just said? That's manufactured and happened very intentionally.
There's a book, another banned book, or the closest you can be to a banned book, which isn't like it's not actually banned. What's it called? Camp of the Saints style. Like people have had prophetic visions about this happening. But yeah, and if you look at what happened to Britain and ask why, it's really hard to get a reason why Boris Johnson.
It's intentional.
There's economic incentive.
It's manufactured.
Yeah,
they want you to stabilize the country. It's Occam's razor. It feels like at the end of the day, like how hard are we thinking about that?
Yeah. Well, then why would somebody like James Lindsay hold water for this then, or not critique this, not go hard against it?
Well, who's the one demographic he just cannot criticize, no matter what? Ben. This is what keeps happening over and over and over again. Where did he go? Where he put on the hat and touched the wall? And then why are they allowed to do these things, but the woke right isn't allowed to do these things? Yeah, these are the questions we always have. This is why it never debates. Exactly. It's very simple and direct. Now, if anybody would like me to be less radical or less right-wing or not have these, anyone? Does anyone have any answers? No. Every time. And that's what's frustrating. And that's why I feel like that's why my content has become compelling, because I'm like, hey, I'm trying to think over here. Anyone else? Anyone else? Bueller? Anyone gonna raise their hand? Really show myself with that Bueller reference, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that's behind the dust up with Tucker and Piers having Fuentes on. Fuentes is bringing up these issues that you can't bring up, but they're coming up anyways. So what do we do with that? Do we go the tact?
I'm riding that into the sunset. I'm driving that forward.
Where does it go? That's what I'm asking. Do you have a sense of where it goes? Does the conversation eventually just open up and we have an honest conversation and
no, it'll be suppressed. All I can do is have fun with it now. I can't determine what happens in the future. All I can do is just try and expose how there's no answer to what he's saying as much as possible. And where does it go? Anything is better. Like, we need accelerationism, dude. We need to rip the Band-Aid off. We need to see where it goes. I don't care where it goes. This is not sustainable right now. And once Democrats are back in charge, God knows if we still have X. You know, think of how this was before we got X. You ever think about that?
Oh, I was there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do
I
you
had
see how much X changed this?
the amount of they pressured YouTube into reforming their incredibly censorious direction. Like it broke YouTube.
I thank them for that.
YouTube people don't know this. In 2020, YouTube became so incredibly censorious. They would hide comments for months and then they'd pop up.
Remember the day they hid the dislike button because of how much disliked?
Yeah.
I forget what the video was. It might have been a Biden video. I can't remember.
Yeah, was it? Yeah, it was either that or some Hollywood thing. Somebody with power. They just didn't want to see the whole Biden thing. And when they get back in power, maybe they'll have a change of heart. It's interesting to see what's happening on the left, because the left is becoming radicalized in more perhaps practical manners, but maybe not. I don't really.
They're reverting back to classic communism.
Yeah,
they've maxed out on the
wokeism.
Judith Butler, who said that gender theory is influenced by her Reform Judaism, by the way.
Oh.
Judith Butler. That kind of genderqueer stuff, they did it as much as they could. And so, that warped a generation or two right there.
They lost their cool, though. The left lost its cool. I mean, I guess Hassan Piker, I don't really understand why he's big, but I guess he'd be the closest thing to cool that they have.
I want you to realize that in 2020, when everybody was locked away in their homes, Vosh and Hassan Piker exploded in popularity.
Yeah. Yeah.
They absolutely
organically, you think?
No, because their stuff was just being fed to people. I don't think it was.
About Vosh in a while.
Yeah.
Is he still around?
Yep. Okay. I made a video on him that did pretty well. That was a re-upload, but I mean, it's just like it's like making fun of a retarded person. And I don't even say that. I say that like descriptively because their arguments are so bad and they're being taken like less and less seriously now that we have more.
There was a tell. He was really offended when those NGOs got attacked because he's like, "How am I supposed to make a living?" I'm like, "Okay, well,
right, yeah."
Thanks for letting us know. Thanks for the receipts.
Yeah. I covered some like Destiny. Like if I just wanted money, I would just have to make Destiny videos on my channel, and that would be it.
Mm-hmm. Would you, if he had you on, would you go on?
I'd have no desire to do it. If I did, I would just eat my balls and have a terrible debate, and then I would make a video going to what I really wanted to say. What's really frustrating to me is having to act like, because like this is why I make videos, to show the receipts, to show what they said in time. Yeah. And so if they say something that I know is obviously a lie, my impulse is to go, well, let's watch this 7-minute clip of me showing exactly what you said, exactly how it's a lie. Yeah. It boils my blood to be in person and watch these lies be said.
Yeah.
And then the audience capture, where no matter what I say or do, the audience is just going to shit on me. It's just not even fruitful, I guess I would say.
It reminds me of Peter Boghossian, who was affiliated with James. I'm sure they're still friends and stuff, but he, during the fallout of their so-called Sokol Squared affair, where they made fun of these academic departments by writing these absurdist essays and getting them published. Peter said because he was just like James, and maybe not like you.
I wouldn't say just like James. He did street epistemology. He actually is New Discourses, okay? When you look at the oldest videos on the New Discourses channel, it's Peter Boghossian going out, talking to people, and actually having new discourses.
Yeah. I meant just like James in that he was a atheist battling Christians.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And then he switched over to the anti-woke stuff, and he said that I'd much rather debate Christians because they actually believe in truth.
Right.
And so I'm wondering if if there's anybody that you would like, do you have any worthy enemies? And where are they generally speaking on the political compass? Your worthy enemies, people that you would engage with because you do respect them.
I've never thought of that. I know that I want to revamp the debate space. I have feelings.
Yeah. Well, you don't
I
do
know
debate. You do critique, but you could go debate.
I love debating is the thing, but
Yeah.
debate has been completely bastardized where the level of audience capture, like when I say like blood sports debates were way more fun back in like 2015, 2016, 2017. You know, it was more of a battle of I don't know, just nowadays it's like there's no shame. I want to debate someone that actually might have shame with a like.
Yeah, there was
Because if they don't have
somebody
shame, they'll be wrong over and over again. They don't
Yeah.
care, and it's like this is not even fun. It's
There was-
just infuriating.
there was a guy you were going after. You did a video about a guy who ended up debating Andrew Wilson. I can't remember the name of the guy.
Counterpoints?
Is it Counterpoints? That's not an original name, but whatever.
Does he have a beard?
Yeah,
facial
the
hair?
guy with the beard, Counterpoints, which is too close to Contrapoints, but whatever. But he just had no shame. Like there was like, why am I
Yeah.
even listening to? Dre Dyer's like, this is not worth my time, and hung up the call and stuff like that. So they're the lol cows.
Misfit Patriot.
Oh, okay. So not ContraPoints. I don't know all the different ends and outs.
I know
and
the
stuff.
reason why I know them is because they exemplify things, right? That
Yeah.
guy has absolutely no shame.
Yeah.
Well, actually, both of them have no shame. And we've spent so much time just ignoring people and go, yeah, what's the point of that conversation? Ignore them. We tried ignoring them. They trains the kids. I can't ignore these behaviors. Okay?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I really like to be like, I don't want this person to get away with this. They have no shame. Shame them. They
Yeah.
need to be shamed. They need to be mocked relentlessly. Which is Saul Alinsky was what is that? Ridicule's man's most potent weapon. No, I think that's Rule 5.
Yeah. Well, that's
Really
it. That's a art that you're particularly deft at deploying. But in the debate space, like who would be somebody who you would respect enough or who would engage properly that'd be worth your time, and what would you be trying to persuade them of, right? Like if you were to speak to somebody in the Lindsay camp
A
or
Lindsayite, like Isaiah or I don't know, Isaiah
Yeah.
Carter or like Mikhail Olson. I don't know if you talked to them, but
have
I
you
guess-
had Mikhail on?
they don't talk to me.
He won't. Okay.
He blocked me. I made
Okay.
a whole stream on it.
Yeah. Were you butthurt?
I'm
About
just
the block.
I'm just harassing him. It's the classic tactic of
Yeah.
challenge me to a debate, and I'm like, all right, and then I'm harassing him. Now, of course, I have a very sharp tongue and whatnot because
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a whole
Yeah.
other thing.
I had him on not too long ago. It was a bad interview because he was arguing against people that weren't in the room and that I couldn't stand in for, like Joe Webbin and the Christian nationalists.
This is all they
types.
do. They just get a name drop the people they don't like.
Well, I mean, we did that plenty with James. God bless his soul, and stuff like that. And I mean,
Well, it was
I
leading
can't
to
have him on,
it was leading to a larger point in the
yes,
space.
that's what I'm
That's why I
trying to
was
say.
trying to
That's-
relate that
yeah,
to.
yeah, me too. So so I'm wondering. So the Lindsay-ites are people in the neocon camp, and I think Tucker's forcing their hand. He's forcing their hand to have the conversations that they don't want to have, and that's why they revert to the platforming debate or the accusation of having too soft of an interview.
Because they can't do what the leftists do. They have to be the liberals. They can't abandon the marketplace of ideas. They have to
Okay.
act like they're about free speech.
Yeah.
And all they can do is effeminately nag you and
Yeah.
go, well, I just don't. No matter how many times someone talks to Nick Fuentes, have you noticed it's never good enough? No matter who talks to him, no matter how much pushback they give, they never do it right. That in itself is an effeminate new age struggle session. How many more conversations does Nick Fuentes have to have? Have it yourself, James. No? Okay. Just going to constantly critique and deconstruct and analyze as opposed to like push back against his strongest points. How about you do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Instead of getting caught up on Hitler is cool.
Yeah. I was rather disappointed by Coleman Hughes's reaction to Fuentes. It seemed like a substanceless critique. It seemed like propaganda. You did very well at deconstructing it from your particular angle. But it
I
was
can
like,
sense
okay,
it now. It feels the same every time, doesn't it? When they talk about Fuentes, and he's saying the same lines, and
Yeah.
he's just showing the same clips that we've all seen. It's just
Yeah.
you're showing the highlight reel, dude. Who are you
Yeah.
showing these to?
And intentionally not getting the point, which is the millennial woes meme about a leftist
Yes.
manner of engaging with discourse, pretending that you don't understand the point and making discourse impossible.
Intentionally obtuse, and it's like, I know this person's intelligent.
Yeah.
How are they not seeing this? And that's what maybe become more interested in cognitive biases, because anyone can have them. But it's like when somebody learns like a fallacy, then they start calling everything a fallacy. So I really reserve when I try to bring out a bias,
I think you brought that up on stream. You said, I try not to do that because I want to define it. It was in the Misfit Patriot video.
With fallacies, definitely.
Yeah.
Instead of calling something a fallacy, that's just a rhetorical tactic at this point. Now we're going to have a debate about whether or not it's a fallacy. So if you were committing a straw man fallacy and defending against a position I didn't say, I would just say to you, you're defending against a position that I didn't say.
Yeah.
I would just descriptively say what you're doing and why I disagree with it and try and move on, rather than going straw man fallacy, and then you would say no, it's not. And I would say yeah, it is.
This is a sexist comment, but it kind of makes sense, and I think about it. No, I haven't said it yet.
I know. I'm just glad that you're being sexist. That makes me
happy. Cool. That somebody was saying something about somebody reasoning like a woman, and instead of using words for the content of what they mean, they were using them emotionally, and I see that a lot. And once you notice that technique, it's like, oh, you are a monarchist, or you're for tyranny, you're against the Constitution. It's like, well, I'm not talking about that, but you're distilling everything into these Constitution good, monarchy bad, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so you can, once you start to see, they trot out these terms like straw man fallacy or good faith argument. No, you're not participating in good faith, or Mott and Bailey, or gaslighting, or you're being defensive. You're like, no, you're using a word that is now making the conversation emotional and
deflection,
and you're making the conversation impossible now because you're not really interested in understanding like this wealth of.
And this is what's been frustrating to me, is because that like I've seen Vosh do this specifically. I can remember it in my brain, where he intentionally brings the conversation into the weeds, and then he complains that, hey, the conversation's in the weeds. Can we get back to what we were talking about? And it was an entire waste of 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So that's why, like, I've spent a lot of this time criticizing the left for these behaviors when James Lindsay goes and does all of them on steroids, and all of his loyal followers. I'm like, I thought you guys were studying anti-communism, all of these tactics. Turns out they were just believing whatever James said. They weren't actually. And I started to deviate from James Lindsay when I started doing American history about communism independently. Yeah. And I'm like, that's weird how James doesn't cover, like, these things.
What sparked your interest in that series or that project, and how did it go? Did you see that people weren't talking about the historical context as deep as you wanted to understand, and so that's what you got?
No, my brain was melting down. I had realized, actually, this is what it is. I can make this succinct. So I made I call them talkumentaries. There's 3 of them on my channel. It's kind of like a documentary, but it's kind of like a video that I make, but it's a little more serious, a little more information dense.
Yeah.
And it was the Harlem Race Riot of 1935. No, I'm sorry. The BLM of 1935, where I draw the exact moment that the BLM riots that happened in 2020, this happened in 1935. And I show in the video how we have been lied to about, undeniably, this is the only video that exists, the only historical record of the telling of the Harlem Race Riot from 1935. I had to cross-reference it with a man from another video who is not included in any of the texts, but he's on screen talking about how he was a communist, and it was communist-driven. And then their official report said there was no communist there, but there was communist in their Mayor LaGuardia's cabinet, which, funnily enough, LaGuardia Airport is named after a socialist. LaGuardia was a socialist, blah, 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 blah. All these things. I realized that, like, we've been lied to about our history from there. And how I told you I don't go into, like, a huge rabbit hole. That's all I have to know. The fact from that one video that I know that we've been lied to very much, my brain just was like melting, I guess. You know,
Hmm.
it shatters the. It would be like if I assume if it would be like if a person believes in Jesus Christ and then becomes an atheist, right?
Yeah. Well, I
It
mean,
shatters the framework of your worldview.
one of my sub themes is talking to disaffected liberals or left me sort, and you ask
Yeah.
them, well, where did you break down, and then how hard did it hit you? And you
Yes.
say, well, the COVID or the trans thing, and it's like, okay, and then did you keep on asking questions? When did you stop asking questions? But the meltdown, the ego, if somebody's ego is bound up too tightly in that historical mythos that then is shattered by one thing, they'll either scramble to keep it together or fall apart.
Right.
And so that was something that happened to you with your worldview, your context, and as who you were as an American, I
I
suppose. If
I
you want
was
to go that far.
the best way I can explain it to you is I have repeatedly been hitting new levels of not giving a shit that I didn't know were possible is the most meaningful way I can express
Hmm.
it to you. It started in 2020 and I'm like, okay, mass form psychosis, this is definitely a thing. Psyops
Yeah.
definitely this is crazy what's going on. It was just a series of being broken over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I just found myself, but then I can talk to the right wing about these things, right? That's why I say right wing. It feels good because that's drawing into people that I want to talk to and that
Okay.
listen to me. And then,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good landing pad. I really the channel, and I've always wanted this, even in 2023. Um, when I was talking to the Lindsay-ites, I'm like, we need to create a landing pad for people because when people leave the left, they're leaving their friends, they're leaving their sanity, they're leaving everything behind,
Yeah.
and so they need somewhere to go to figure things out. And that's
Yeah.
really what my channel is. The purpose of it is to we're trying to figure things out. This is what I think, but you guys can think whatever you want, man. I'm not going to tell you what to think.
I guess the interesting thing about the Lindsay domain of discourse is that it's fine if you want to be a liberal who wants to police discourse, but don't say you're a liberal that doesn't want to police discourse, right?
It
It's
doesn't
like
make any sense.
it's fine if you say, Fuentes is off limits, but don't give me the speech about free speech and do all this weird namby-pamby stuff about platforming and then
Well, no,
like
Ben, no,
insinuating.
Ben.
And
See, you
you
doing it
had
again.
Dugan. People that they threw a fit about Dugan. James facilitated the fit because I had Dugan on my channel. James publishes that he's a Satanist and he has all this information. And if I listen to James's critique of Dugan, I just see him spending 20 minutes talking about how Aaron McIntyre is a bad guy, and then like reading this reading this essay and not really making a deep analysis of it, just pattern recognition. This guy bad, this guy bad, this guy bad, this guy bad. And every domain of discourse is going to need to have gatekeepers. You're just going to have gatekeepers, right? You're not going to want, I mean, go to child diddlers or something. Like even the right wing that is more free speech than the left or the liberals is still going to say, no, that's off limits. We don't have anything to do with that. Right. That's okay. But don't go on this whole rant about how Carl Schmitt's a Nazi and the friend enemy distinction and is just a recipe for tyranny, and then constantly make everything about a friend enemy distinction. It's just, it's either dishonest or ignorant or moronic in the long run. And yeah. So I don't know where I exist on the spectrum, but I know that I'm not as right as some people. And I have to maintain a certain Overton window. I do it on the sly by choosing who to talk to, what to talk about, and then hearing a buzzard in my head like, oh, here you go. You're going over there. Do you want the trouble of talking about this topic or not? Or
That
do I
right
want to
there,
have an open discourse and be
the
taught?
the fact that people make you feel that way makes me mad.
Yeah.
Yes. I
They
want to
have
chew their
self-interest.
asses out and make videos about them. The
Yeah.
fact that there's people influencing you to go, should I really ignore what my brain is curious about?
Yeah.
Like deeply pisses me off as a liberal.
Well, I understand it because they have to have self-interest. It's just like, be honest about the self-interest and let other people have self-interest too. But you want to
That's
selectively
the
apply
right
the
wing.
self-interest.
The honesty is the right wing. See,
Yeah.
you just like, hey, can't everyone just be honest? You know, it's like kindergarten. You know, can't everyone just like share their toys and just be honest? And no, not these people, dude. And that's why I've developed. out of hatred. It's out of a blind hatred that like I've just seen so much on the back end from these people. And I just I don't know, I've developed an intuition to be like, I don't trust that guy. I think that guy's lying. Or I think that guy's not saying what he actually is. And so that's why I feel a responsibility and a sense of service and duty to be hyper vigilant, to go, I'm planting a flag in this person, and my hit ratio has been pretty good.
No,
because I've been around them for a while.
I don't know where your sense came from, but it's highly attuned. And the gatekeeping procedure that your sense of humor produces, right? So you go edgy, you talk about things that are going to turn off certain people. That's a gatekeeping mechanism so that people that want to control discourse just won't talk to you. And that's that's one level of analysis that people like the mainstreamers or the classical liberal types have ignored about the Fuentes stuff. Like he's using that to keep you out of the discourse. Like you're self-selecting out of the discourse, but then you can't pretend to have authority over the discourse if you're not going to engage with this discourse or claim that you can control discourse.
If you're effeminate, yeah, you can. If you're like whiny and like still wanting to be participatory while saying I don't want to be participatory, that duality, that duplicitousness, constant. But here's the thing. We're talking about things that are really uncomfortable, right? And if a couple of words hurt your feelings, you're useless to me. Get out. Sorry. We're going to be talking about some really weird, difficult concepts sometimes. And if a couple of words are enough to deter you, then you're not going to be able to handle the reality of what's being discussed anyway. That makes sense.
So your content right now seems like you're just kind of following your intuition. Do you have like a deeper substrate that you see developing? Like a deeper
I'm just trying to keep up with the channel. The channel is my baby. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's a toddler now.
I'm trying to do what's best for my toddler. Okay. Kindergarten's not too far away in a couple of years. Okay. I want him to be able to socialize with the other kids. All right.
Yeah.
It's hard raising this channel as a single father, you know?
Oh.
But the channel is the baby. I'm doing what's best for the channel, no matter how much it makes me uncomfortable. I never thought I'd be streaming. I swore I would never be a streamer. Nothing about that looked remotely fun or interesting.
Why didn't you not want to do that, or why is that not fun? And were you surprised by how fun it is?
Lately, yes. Because it's weird. It's weird. All right, I'm just gonna say it, Ben. It would make. You're so nice. I'm gonna say it. Okay.
Uh-oh.
It would make more sense if they were like giving me money to like watch me jerk off. You know, that makes more sense to me. Well, it's weird that I understood OnlyFans a lot more. It's like, yeah, at least you're blowing a load. Like you're giving this guy money, like just because he like says stuff. Like that's just fucking, that's strange. But then I was developing an audience that was like, I'm working long hours. This really helped get through it. This is funny and informative. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
I'm helping people.
Yeah.
I kind of get it now. Yeah. And so and then, you know, you hear that a couple of times and then it's like, you know, service and duty, sense of responsibility. It's not just for me. I'm actually helping people. And a lot of us go a long time knowing we want to help people. We don't know how we can do it. And I found like a way where they're laughing, thinking, which is all I really care about. And so I'm like, wow, I need to actually like see like where this goes. On my deathbed, I would regret not trying my hardest at this, right? Because of this opportunity I'm being given.
Yeah, that's what I felt when I landed a YouTube audience. Like, oh, this is a total opportunity for to justify my my intellectual existence. So I just have to devote myself as much as possible to it and see what happens. Do you have a sense of a milestone ahead of you? Not necessarily a metric milestone, but like where you think you need to develop more on? Or
I wake up every day and I don't know what I'm going to do, Ben.
No, but you just wake up and you're like, I have to get something to my channel. I have to feed the channel.
I'll put it to you this way. I made a video about Nick Fuentes. So Monday, I wake up and then it's midday and I'm like, oh yeah, Nick Fuentes is going to be on Piers Morgan. So this must be a week ago. Oh yeah, he's on Piers Morgan. Ooh, I gotta listen to that. Ooh, that just happened. If something just happened, I'm like, I need to try and get a video out as soon as possible
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the algorithm, right?
yeah.
And so I'm like, ooh, I gotta start that video tonight. And I start making the video that night, and I complete the video in a single night and release it that night. So it goes from being live
Mm-hmm.
to me posting a 22-minute video about it within maybe like a 9-hour period, let's say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That morning I woke up, I didn't know I was going to do that. So, and then with live streams, I did a lot of live streaming recently, which really can take it out of you. But I'm, it's imposter syndrome. This is already growing too quickly.
Yeah.
The fact that I'm like talking to you right now, like I'm just some guy like 5 or 6 months ago, but now I'm developing into like a guy on the internet.
Yeah.
A guy.
Yeah, you're on a different stage of the process than me. I've been doing this for almost 8 years now.
Right.
And I look at that like that's almost a decade. Like you've been doing this thing for a decade. That's a long time. No wonder I feel kind of burnout or like, what am I doing? I have nothing new to say if I said it already before. I don't have that sense of necessity that I feel you expressing that I used to feel. Like I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it. And so I'm curious how it's going to develop, and it'll develop as it does,
I've already taken more risks than I have to take. The safest thing for me to do is be completely insulated and just make edited videos. Mm-hmm. The more I talk, the more possible liability that can happen.
Liability.
Yeah. I say something one time that I realize I've been a student of the internet and YouTube in these conversations for 15 years now or something, whatever it is. And so, my channel does just fine when I just make edited videos and I get increased subscribers and whatever. And then I just realized I'm like, I need to at least try live streaming because alternate platforms, you have to stream. If you don't have YouTube and you're making any sort of part-time income or whatever it is, if you don't have YouTube, you have to stream. There's no ad revenue on Rumble. It's just not even close. Odyssey doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You have to stream. And so I'm like, wow, if something happened to this channel, I'm at least gonna have to stream. And we saw this with Zoomer Historian. At 260,000 subscribers, his account got nuked. And now I think he's streaming like twice a week. Same thing with the account Remnant777, which his channel is unbelievable. Very high production value in his videos. But he just hit 100,000 and he's like, damn, I have to start streaming just in case. So it really started as like a backup, and then it's weird. People like me. I'm still getting used to people liking me. Do you know how long I've gone for people not liking me for?
I think it's important to not be liked, because then when you get liked, you have a little bit more to fall back on. If you just are liked out the gate, somebody we were just talking about got really, really, really relevant, and then the relevance fades, and then you can go into a spiral if you not grounded, but not being liked, being unknown is the opposite of a liability. Sometimes,
right.
As long as you don't need it and you're addicted to being liked.
Well,
but if
now
you can appreciate it particularly.
Well, now I'm developing a sense of confidence and comfort because I think I've already transferred over from YouTube maybe like 150 people to Rumble, which somebody might think that's not that many, but it's like, well, for a live stream, it is on Rumble, right? And so I'm already building like a parallel structure, and I'm creative. I want to bring some creativity to the right. I like bouncing ideas off. I like treating things like a LARP, like a Dungeons and Dragon game, and just try it out in a simulation. Like I'm calling myself a YouTube monarch, and I'm like, guys, how do I run this channel like a monarch? Because I am the monarch, technically, aren't I?
Well,
so let's
be a
let's run
beneficial tyrant. It's totally
See,
possible.
there we go. See, then if you said that in chat, I would go, what the hell's that mean? Beneficial tyrant. And then I would just start doing that to like replicate like what it would be like, because that's, I don't know, I'm a kinesthetic learner. I don't read. I listen to stuff. I try it out in reality to really judge how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And I think people enjoy that interaction.
There's there's an odd sense of autodidacticism. It's not
Yes.
odd, but like you have an autodidactic or didatic, whatever, feeling to you. So you have these moments of insight, like, whoa, that's really learned when you say things, when you articulate, especially it's rhetoric. You're very deft at rhetoric. So I'm curious how it's going to cement itself into a formal something or another. But
Well, that's
it'll
the
happen
beauty of a
on
YouTube
the fly.
channel.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of the YouTube channel. I'm technically YouTube commentary, but now that it's developing more into the live streams, which is good because I can focus on things that are things that no one cares about in the algorithm. But then,
Yeah, because you have your audience.
James
yeah,
Lindsay stuff is essentially what it is. It's James Lindsay orbiters that people want some of that. Works much better in a live stream than plugging up my my edited videos with that, so to speak. I can take more time, provide receipts for what I'm talking about.
Okay, to kind of start wrapping up, is there a domain of the field, the tacosphere, the discourse that you feel is attracting to you that you haven't gotten to yet? Like, what's on is there something on the horizon? Do you have a sense of horizon yet, or is it are you pretty short-sighted just because of the churn?
I'm pretty sure I can plant my feet here for the rest of my life. I'm pretty sure.
You're sure that you could be successful here, or that you would be content yourself to be here, planted here?
That's a thoughtful question. Can you ask that question again? Content and
like you would be like. There's two ways that you can take your statement that you're pretty sure you could live your life here.
Yeah.
Like you could, the outside world will reward you for staying here, or you yourself will be content to stay here and not want to go.
Oh,
somewhere.
me myself will be content to stay here. So
okay.
What's been tough is that I gotta, my reality just keeps getting shattered. Okay. I feel like I have hit a reality that I can sink my feet into. And not have to have it shattered another 5 years later.
Yeah.
I'm really appreciating my reality and then not have everything crumble down around me. I like the people that I'm attracting. I love the conversations I'm having.
Yeah.
I'm actually proud of the community I'm building. Everything is working out too well very quickly.
Yeah.
And so I'm.
You don't want to let the gift horse in the mouth.
No. I mean, I know what this is a good place to dial this down at. I understand isolation, feeling alone, and being severely depressed. I understand that. I understand it from a couple different angles, okay? I know what it's like to have these thoughts, feelings, and you feel very alone. I do not want any other man, very man-focused, to feel that way. And so I want to talk about these things that people have difficulty articulating. They don't quite know why they feel this way. I want to make people feel less alone. And I feel like that's happening. And the more I do that, because I feel like I'm good at doing that. Listening to me talk sounds like you're hanging out with somebody, right? Just the energy that I'm using, or when me and Fist are having a live stream, even when I do a live stream by myself, it's high energy. I'm ripping things off, I want people to,
you're present
when they're going through. Yes, be present and hang on when things are getting tough. Because I hung on and things got a lot better.
Yeah, it's there's some parallels. Not quite, but I started my channel, or my channel started itself when I was 39, right before I turned 40.
Oh wow!
No, I guess I was 40, but I was like a year older than you.
Yeah,
and it just like kind of landed in my lap. And it was, the 30s. My 20s were wild. My 30s were just a dearth of failures, one after the other. So it was a big gift to me, and I did not take it for granted at all when I had some semblance of an audience. And I embraced that, and I saw through the metrics and the numbers. Say, there's other people. My job is to serve other people. However, I started. So I started decidedly way further from the right than you started. And by degrees, I've gotten where I've gotten, and I don't know how many people I've lost on the way, or how many people I connected with or deepened, but there's a lot of real work that happens in this medium, especially when you center the human component, the you, not in a narcissistic way, part of the tube. And so it's obvious that you have the proper attitude for the gift that you've been given. And plus you're freaking talented and entertaining as fuck. And I'm glad that you guys have stopped interrupting your live streams to read every single what are they called? The super chats or whatever to give a little bit more. Now,
Benjamin, what? As the YouTube monarch, okay, I want to let you know that your feedback is taken under advisement. Okay, now I will let you know that the views are continuing to increase on the YouTube live streams. So there is
every Friday at 3 p.m.
6 p.m. He said 3 p.m. and it's 6 p.m.
Well, it's time is relative, so 3 p.m.
Oh, you
Western.
I'm sorry. On the East in New England, we think the world revolves around us. 3 p.m.
I thought
for
that
you.
Britain thought we all think the world revolves.
But I don't have a market signal to tell me to stop doing that necessarily. So you see what I'm saying? I understand how it's like annoying and whatnot.
Well, you do it less.
Do I?
Yes, you guys have.
We get way more now though than we were before.
I don't know. It was a hitch for me for a certain couple of episodes, and it's no longer a hitch for me. So I don't know if you changed or if I changed.
No, I think we're just finding our groove.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's great. It's great to be on the side of the process where you're discovering things. The other side of it, when you've already gotten success, or I just hit 100,000 subscribers, and I'm really trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing. Like, what am I doing?
Why don't you stream?
Yeah, I should start doing that again. I used to. I
mean, especially when you have big guests on, you can do super chats for Q&As, dude.
That's true. Get that money. Get that bling. What's that? Do you have merch yet?
They want to give it to you. I do. Yes, I use Fourth Wall, in part because I looked at your merch store and you use Fourth Wall.
Yeah, it plugs right into YouTube. I don't think I get any revenue from that, but I hope you do get some revenue.
I mean, nobody really buys merch too much. You know, we're not very brand. You know,
yet.
You have you have a cat on a hat. You know, I have like a goofy design on a shirt, right? Like, what am I gonna fucking sell? I'm not, you know.
Yeah. What's coming up for you guys, topic-wise, theme-wise? What's on the horizon?
We have absolutely no idea. I did ask him what he wants to cover on this Friday, because there is something we could possibly do tomorrow, which is I think Steven Crowder released Jeremy Boring talking about why they got rid of Candace and there's some rhetorical things in there that I find very curious.
Yeah. You're to brand you from my point of view, your YouTube commentary with a decided rhetorical and analytical bent. Not quite hermeneutic, but just you analyze how people are saying or not saying what they're saying. And it's very particularly insightful. It's a novel and beneficial thing. And then it's wrapped up in all the entertainment. But the nugget, the intellectual nugget that I continually go back to is like the rhetorical analysis. So it's interesting because you could really go anywhere. When you were describing what you were doing, it's like you can go into psychology, you can go into politics, you can go into a lot of different vectors. Rhetoric is the essence of what we do as discourse facilitators. So you have like, it's not meta in the outside sense, but on the inside sense.
That's very influenced by Peter Boghossian. I was always more drawn to Peter Boghossian doing the street epistemology more than James Lindsay. I'm not very like theoretical and stuff like that. I'm very more so
practical,
dialectical. Actually having a dialogue, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, that's a great place to put it. Thanks for having a dialogue with me, Artie, otherwise known as Rhetorically Defective. Is that your handle?
Yeah, and I'm stuck with that name.
Yeah, Ready Defect. But I really appreciate you coming on the channel. I really appreciate your content, and you guys are having tons of success. Whatever trouble I get into for having you on, it was, I'm sure, totally worth it.
Thanks a lot for risking your neck to have me on, and I will let you know that the fact that you feel like you have to risk your neck deeply bothers me, and I'm going to fight those people on the internet if I see them, okay?